Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me borrow the car in this video. Toyota of Naperville is one of the largest Toyota dealers in Illinois, ready to find the right car for you.
What's up, guys? My name is Zach, and today I am driving the 2011 Nissan Altima 2.5S. Up front is a 2.5 liter inline 4, and down below is a CVT. Now, I am super excited to be driving this Altima because I've only driven one Altima from this generation before. That had the V6 and the manual transmission, which was fantastic, but this is more towards the base model. And if you read the title, as well as have any sort of interest or knowledge of these cars, you'll understand that these have kind of a stigma around them as being one of the most often crashed, rowdiest, craziest, most banged up automobiles on the road. And so today we're going to do a thorough search as to why that might be. Why the Altima? Why does Big Altima Energy have a Facebook page? We're going to get into all of that today. But if you would like to share your crazy, wacky, wild car with me, I have a submission form on my website, zackprail.com/submit. It's quick and easy, takes under a minute, and I come out to you to film your vehicle. But let's get back to that 2.5 liter under the hood, where this car gets its name. It's shared in a lot of other Nissan products. The Murano, Frontier, Sentra, and Rogue all got this engine, and I'm sure there's plenty more. That's just what I can remember off the top of my head. It makes 175 horsepower, which is actually a pretty good number, and we're going to be talking about that with the final thoughts segment because the driving experience is actually rather peppy. What's not peppy is that CVT, meaning continuously variable transmission. Nissan has been using CVTs for a very long time, and they're not very reliable. Nissan CVTs are probably the worst in the game in terms of reliability. They break all the time. They're just a headache and a half. So it's not fantastic, but I will say it does do a good job of holding this car in the torque band, and it feels peppy while driving. So definitely nice to see. Last but not least, of course, the Altima is front wheel drive. So how does it feel to actually drive the Altima? I'm, I guess, not happy to say it actually drives really, really well. The steering is very responsive and very direct. The CVT, although it's unreliable, it actually drives pretty well. And that 2.5 liter puts out a good amount of power. I'm very, very happy with how this vehicle drives. And I think that might be part of the downfall of this car. Again, something we'll touch on in the final thoughts segment. Visibility is decent, although the windshield feels a little short, but maybe that's just me. With that stuff out of the way, let's talk about the interior. Well, in front of me, I have 3 gauges. Off to the left is my tachometer, in the center is my speedometer, and off to the right is my coolant temperature and fuel. I also do get some digital readouts that are orange. Nissan must have had a stockpile of orange LEDs in the early 2000s because every vehicle is just flooded with orange lights, and the Altima could not escape that. On the steering wheel, on the left, I have my source, selector, volume, and phone options, and off to the right, I have my cruise control options. The overall steering wheel feels fine. I'm not really in love with this color. I think this is a very dated color, but this car is 12 years old, so I guess I can't knock it too hard. Off to the left, I do have a climate control vent, as well as my trunk release and traction control off, and a key insert for when your key battery is dead, of which I had to use today. And moving on to the door, I have my power mirrors, power locks, and power windows on this nice wood accent. Moving into the center, I get these 3 vents. This really reminds me of the 350 and 370Z that Nissan made in this era. It also really reminds me of even the old Datsun 280s. They had this sort of 3-gauge design in the center. Well, the Altima just puts vents instead of gauges, which is a nice throwback touch. Then we have the Sound by Bose radio, which does have AM and FM, aux in, and CD. Very, very early 2010s. Nothing to write home about there. One thing I did not realize until I was getting these B-roll shots is that This actually has a backup camera. I didn't realize this screen was capable of video images, but here it is. It's not fantastic, but this is 7 years before the government required backup cameras, so this was a very nice luxury for 2011. But I do have my climate controls, of which I get dual zone. Really nice to see for 2011. Not much craziness beyond that. Temperature to the left and right, where to send it in the middle, and fan speed in the very middle. I like how it's all laid out. It's symmetrical. It makes me happy. Then we do have this giant cubby, 12-volt outlet all the way at the back of the cubby, but nothing besides that. And then we have the shifter. The shifter does power the continuously variable transmission. I can plus minus fake shift if I want to, but I don't, so I won't. And off to the left and right of the shifter, we do have the heated seat options. Then we have this openable cubby that houses the cup holders, so we will do a big friggin' bottle test. And pardon my gasp, but the big friggin' bottle fits. Coming out of left field, I did not expect this. The Nissan Altima passes the big friggin' bottle test. Who would have thought? Then we do have an opening center console with a USB and 12-volt outlet, and then we'll talk about the seats. They are this nice tan leather, what I expect out of most vehicles from this era. They've been comfortable enough for me. They are heated and power, so I can't really complain. However, speaking of seats, we do have back seats, so let's go do a back seat review. All right, so I'm in the back of the 2011 Nissan Altima 2.5S, and a couple of things to note. First of all, knee room is really good, headroom's good. This back seat is very comfortable. It's very comparable to the Camry and Accord vehicles in that class. I do get my own vents back here, which is really nice to see. I also do get a center console with 2 cup holders. Again, a nice feature, but this is going to be really specific, and I don't know if people can relate to it, but back here, it smells like a pediatrician's office. Not a dentist's office, not a regular doctor's office, specifically a pediatrician. And I don't know why. I don't have an answer for you, but as soon as I got back here, I was like, oh, wow, I'm 9 years old with strep throat again. It's weird how memories can be connected to your nostrils, like the smell of modeling glue or burnt pasta. Anyway, let's hop out. We'll take a quick look at the trunk and cargo space, and then we'll talk about the looks. All right, around the back of the Nissan Altima 2.5 SL, button all the way off to the right. And of course, these are the floor mats for the new owner, but the trunk is rather massive, which I love to see out of sedans. I miss when sedans had big trunks like this, and so the Altima definitely delivers that. I don't get anything crazy, but I do have a spare tire, which is going away from modern cars, so definitely nice to see. Overall, not crazy, but still pretty good. Now we gotta talk about the looks, and I just think this car is like so iconic. Not in the amazing way. I don't think it's a very outwardly pretty automobile, but it is a car, and it does move around, so, you know, it looks fine. It does the job. I just wouldn't give it my Car of the Year award. However, let's get on to my final thoughts. And this is going to be an interactive final thoughts segment. First of all, I like this car. I like driving this car. I think it's really predictable. I think it handles well. It has good enough power for just a little 4-cylinder. I have the Bose speakers, heated seats, cruise control, dual zone climate. It does pretty much all the things I would want a car to do. I don't have a problem with this car, and I think this car is actually rather good, but there's a stigma around it. There's many pages online dedicated to the crashes and misuse of the Nissan Altima. It's become the poster child of bad drivers. And I have 3 theories. First of all, these are cheap. Comparing these to Camrys and Accords, the Altima is going to be cheaper every single time. When cars are affordable, they can be purchased by anyone, smart or otherwise. So this opens it up to a larger field of people. Unfortunately, as you'll grow up and learn, there are a lot of dumb human beings in this world. But they deserve cars too. But there's plenty of good, smart, thoughtful individuals that own this car too. That purple manual V6 that I drove is owned by my good friend Matt. He's one of the smartest guys I've ever met when it comes to cars and life. He's a good guy. He's one of my best friends. He does not give off big Altima energy, although his dog does. And so that leads me to my second reason, which is confirmation bias. Confirmation bias is basically when you get an idea in your head, and then when you're out in the world, your brain just connects things that makes that saying true. If I were to tell you, oh my God, all cars are black, white, or gray, and then you go out on the road and you see just black, white, and gray cars, you would say, oh my gosh, he's right. But if you really looked in any parking lot, you're going to see red cars, you're going to see blue cars, you're going to see maybe a yellow or purple car. A lot of people call it the GTA effect, where when you pick up a new car, you buy a new car in life, you start seeing it everywhere. That's confirmation bias. They didn't come out of the woodworks. They didn't spawn in. Your brain is just thinking about it, so it sees or notices these differences. I think that's a big case with the Nissan Altima. I don't think these are crashed any more than any other car, but because it sort of became this thing, now people are looking for it. And anytime I do see an accident on the road caused by a Nissan Altima, I go, ha, another Altima. But if I drive past a Geo Metro that's crashed, I'll say my condolences and move on. The last thing is the driving experience. This car inspires confidence. It's raining today, and I took a couple corners at speed because I'm out here on a private test track, not in public. And the car handled really, really well. It was very responsive. When I put my foot into it, it goes. And I think that can falsely give owners a sense of pride and confidence. This car can change lanes on the highway doing 95 miles an hour, and it's going to feel relatively stable doing that. But you're playing God at that point. And one of these times that you change lanes doing 95 miles an hour, no matter how smooth or how well the car can handle it, it's not going to end well. And that ends up with accidents and tickets, and sometimes even jail time. So I think this car does get an undeservingly bad rap. It's not a bad automobile. It's just had a lot of bad things done to it. If it weren't for the stigma, I wouldn't mind owning one of these. Sure, it's fine. It does the job. If only it didn't have such a reputation. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Huge thank you to Toyota of Naperville for letting me take out their Nissan Altima. This is one of their used vehicles on the lot. They have hundreds of used cars, tons of different makes and models. If Nissan isn't your thing, if Toyota isn't your thing, still go check out their website in the description below. They have tons of offerings. I think you'll find something that you like. But I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Don't forget to rate the video, comment on the video, and subscribe if you really liked it. Take care, guys.